This video will explore the final steps of ACT, diffusion, and committed action. You'll learn what it means to reflect on yourself as context, and you'll use CBT strategies to support diffusion work. Each of those skills will be done in service of moving toward committed action, which is values-aligned behavior despite how you feel. Camila's counselor gave her one more set of strategies to employ and fully leverage acceptance commitment technique. The first, diffusion, brought back the CBT skills they had trained in the month before. Camila needed to get back to using disputation, checking for thinking traps, using her in-the-moment skills and other techniques like breath work to temper some of her emotional responses, or in other words, diffuse them, and provide her body and brain with a better environment for thinking and values-aligned behavior. Then she needed to step back a bit and consider herself as context rather than experiences themselves. In other words, her counselor said she needed to see that what she was feeling was simply a result of the combination of her environment, her biology, and her nervous system. They were not her as a person. They were simply a result of context. Stepping back helped her to separate from the experience itself and added to diffusing the emotional intensity of the experience. That in turn allowed her to move on to the final step, committed action. She and her counselor collaborated on ways she might move forward that were values aligned and that gave her purpose to navigate through the unpleasant emotion. They made a short list and Camila began executing on it week to week and game to game. And while the unpleasantness never went away, she was able to return to her preferred levels of performance in the classroom and on the field. It's really common for individuals to identify themselves by what they do. And while there's nothing wrong with this in principle, it illustrates the brain's tendency to identify itself with experience. ACT helps move us from thinking about ourselves based on the content of our thoughts into seeing the context in which those thoughts occur. You might think of it as shifting from I'm unlovable to I'm having the thought that I'm unlovable. We also often pay little attention to how we talk to ourselves and can suffer from a lack of self-kindness. When we repeatedly use negative labels for ourselves, we can become fused with that language, identifying ourselves with it even. So cognitive diffusion helps loosen the grip that has on our negative self-labels and see our thoughts as only that, just thoughts, rather than accurate representations of some objective reality. In this final part of the ACT process, goals come into play as we think about identifying what will help get us to where we want to go. This goal-setting process should function really like a workshop in which you set goals, you try them out in real life, you essentially reflect and report back to yourself on progress, you make tweaks, and then you do it all over again as you sort of orient and find the right alignment with your values and your actions.